Okay, the Atlanta Falcons are getting a bunch of good news going into the Cowboys game. And this is a game where I think the Atlanta Falcons absolutely are looking to get a W. But the question is, even more so, why and how are they going to do it? And I think if you look at this, you're starting to understand more and more with a home game against the Cowboys. This is not the same Cowboys team that you would have played in years past. So let's get into a couple of reasons why the Falcons have some good news, both on the injury front and also just a step back and looking at the opponent. If you don't know who we are, my name's Craig. Me and my buddy Chris, we have this channel. Not our first channel. We are Lions fans. You can see the Hutch jersey back there. We don't hide that, but we love talking football, especially teams that the national media doesn't cover as much. ATL, we see you. We have a very similar fan base, I think, both in Atlanta and in Detroit, one that usually is overlooked. So let's take a look at what is going on in this game. And let's start with the injury front, and then I'm going to get into some more specifics here after that. But let's just say the out and questionable injury statuses for the Cowboys are so much more than that of the Atlanta Falcons. And this is why it starts with good news. The players who are out, Deron Bland, he's out. Right? He's out. Trayvon Diggs, it says questionable. He's officially questionable. We just learned that he had a tear in his calf. He's out. He's not going to play. Micah Parsons is out. He's out. All right, Jordan Phillips, out. The Cowboys have been terrible against the run all year. Jordan Phillips being out doesn't help that. They've been bad against the pass all year. Having your best pass rusher and your two best corners out doesn't help that. If you have any Atlanta Falcons on your fantasy football team, play them. Any of them. All of them. All right? Play Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is coming off the Player of the Week nominee. The NFL, I think, labeled him as the Offensive Player of the Week this past week. He deserved it, slinging it for 4 touchdowns. It could get even nastier. Look, I understand you can't play the Buccaneers every single weekend, but a good consolation to that is playing the Cowboys. Meanwhile, on your side of things, Troy Anderson is going in a better direction because he got a full practice in. Bertrand's out, and Ahoroho is out, which that one does hurt. But again, it looks like Justin Simmons is no longer on the injury report. He's going to be doing good after logging a few limited practices in. Look, the injury front, it's no contest. All right. Our Detroit Lions just had a game against the Cowboys just a couple of weeks ago where they were banged up. They were a shell of themselves. They just were not ready to compete. And I think with teams that are playing that have good quality a good quality roster, I think the Cowboys are no longer at a position where they can compete with those teams. They just can't. The 49ers were injury riddled too, and the Cowboys just lost to them. That kind of felt like their last hurrah of like, hey, we can still do this, because their next 4 games are Falcons. That's you. All right. Eagles, Texans, Commanders. That is tough. The season could get out of hand in a hurry for them. All right, let's look at some more in-depth type of things. The Cowboys are 3-4. That record is not indicative of what they have done. It simply isn't. All right, they lost by 25 to the Saints. They lost to the Ravens. They've beaten the Giants. I don't know how they went and beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, but they did. They lost by 38 to the Detroit Lions and then by 6 to the 49ers. When you look at the Cowboys overall, I'll show you this via PFF. Not only are they 23rd in points scored, they're 23rd in points allowed. They're not scoring, and they're not stopping. That is not a good combination. When you look at team grades, it gets even worse, tied for 27th and 31st in defensive grade. Their defense is not good if you have the weapons to beat them. You have the weapons to beat them. All right, I would expect in this game both Drake London and Mooney to get some seriously good numbers. All right, not only that, Pitts, you could see it going well, but the secondary is so beat up on the outside that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the receivers getting some good run. I also think that this is a big Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier game. I think this is a running game. You have a good offensive line in Atlanta. They're solid. When you look at Matthews, when you look at Lindstrom on the inside, even McGarry on the other side, there's nothing that scares me from the Dallas Cowboys because, again, like what they're running out there without Micah Parsons is Lawson, Smith, Odigizua, and Golston. Like, this isn't it. The other thing that I would be excited to look at, the tackles have struggled for the Cowboys. Is this the game that Matthew Judon gets rolling? I think that's the question that I have. You can't argue with it. He hasn't been very good this year. His pass rush hasn't been very good this year. He's had 13 total pressures on 173 pass rushes. You want a pressure rate above 10%. That's like 6-7%. That's not great. So he has not been good, and that's what you got him to be. I know there's trade rumors. I know there's trade talks. I'm telling you right now, with the trade deadline looming on Tuesday, and I'll give you a little insider on the other side of it, I would expect there's a possibility if you can't get a pass rush going against this Cowboys team, I would not be surprised to see you go out and get a defensive edge, an end, a rushing type player, big, small, anywhere in between, in order to get more effective pass rush. Your defensive secondary is too good. When you've got what is arguably, now they're not playing it right now because they're being asked to cover forever, but when you have Simmons and Bates in the back end and they're not getting any younger, all right, especially Simmons, okay, especially Simmons. Bates has got some more good years. I know he's only 28. All right, just 28. But when you're not getting pressure, nobody can hold up long enough. Terrell and Hughes are actually having really good as far as like being graded. They're having some of the best years of their career. All right. AJ Terrell is probably having his second best year this year. And Mike Hughes is arguably having his absolute best year as a corner. All right. So you're holding up to an extent on the outside, but you need to get pressure. The Dallas Cowboys and their lack of a run game could allow you to pin your ears back a little bit. So these are all good news. I really do expect, and let's hope that it ends up going this way for the Falcons. I really do expect the Falcons to kind of run away with this one. I know that the Cowboys find a way to play and be in games, and they've either been close games or absolute blowouts. There's not been any in-betweens, but I could see the Falcons winning this game by 10 to 14 points. And so it feels like a comfortable win, but maybe not just an obliteration. And so I think the offense should have absolutely no trouble moving the ball against this Cowboys defense, and therefore you'll have success. All right, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Hopefully we're talking good stuff after the game's over and the Falcons got a W. All right, thanks. Hit that hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll get more great NFL content, or at least mediocre NFL content. All right, thanks for watching. See you.